So I created a hard surface floor covering business, and I was installing tile and I was on my knees working for many years. And oftentimes I would pray and just ask God, Lord, I'm thankful for the work that you're giving me, but someday I would like to graduate and get off these knees because I don't want to be hobbling around when I'm 55. So my wife, her dad built his own home. And I was very inspired by that. And he said, Bobby, if I could do this, you could definitely do it. Christy actually helped. My wife helped him frame it and do a lot of the work. And so after tossing it back and forth and buying the book called The Idiot's Guide to Home Building, I built my first house. And we did that back in 2005, and it was for my family. When I got done doing that, I told my wife, I said, honey, I'll never do this again. This was horrible.
This episode is brought to you by Pierre Tax and Accounting, led by CPA Eric Pierre, a seasoned accounting and tax expert with years of experience helping individuals and businesses navigate complex financial landscapes. Whether you need personal tax planning, business tax strategy, bookkeeping, or financial planning support, Eric and his team are committed to helping you protect and grow your financial future with clarity and confidence. To get expert guidance you can trust, check out Pierre Tax and Accounting at pierreaccounting.com. We'd also like to thank Data Driven Decisions, founded by Katie Forrester, for sponsoring today's show. Data Driven Decisions specializes in accounting, bookkeeping, payroll, and advisory services tailored specifically for small businesses and entrepreneurs who want financial clarity and peace of mind. From KPI reporting to fractional CFO support and QuickBooks training, Katie's team brings big firm expertise with a personal touch. Visit them at datadriven.coach to see how smart financial support can make all the difference in your business growth. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Builder's Bible. I'm joined by my friend Bob Pack, who has been on my radar for a while. Honestly, Bob, I haven't even told you that, but as soon as I started getting into this whole construction space, all the rec guys were like, oh, you got to talk to Bob. Bob runs a contractors networking group and all that stuff. And they're like, he's actually kind of a big deal. His houses have been featured in lots of places. And so I'm glad we're here, man. And I love your heart for ministry and recovery. So, I mean, tell us how you got started. Tell us the story of how you wound up, in the home building space and construction space.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me on, Andrew. It's awesome to be here. So I created a hard surface floor covering business, and I was installing tile, and I was on my knees working for many years. And oftentimes I would pray and just ask God, Lord, I'm thankful for the work that you're giving me, but someday I would like to graduate and get off these knees because I don't want to be hobbling around when I'm 55. And so my wife, her dad built his own home. And I was very inspired by that. And he said, Bobby, if I could do this, you could definitely do it. Christy actually helped. My wife helped him frame it and do a lot of the work. And so after tossing it back and forth and buying the book called The Idiot's Guide to Home Building, I built my first house. And we did that back in 2005, and it was for my family. When I got done doing that, I told my wife, I said, honey, I'll never do this again. This was horrible. At the time, I was working a retail box store full time and also working hard surface floor covering on the side, running my company and building a house. And I was doing 70% of the work. It was taxing, to say the least.
Yeah.
So after that, I went to work for a custom home builder in the area, Bob Kirk. He was very, very good at what he did. He was in the little bit higher price point, so he wasn't building the cookie cutter, cardboard steps, houses, and he felt like there was a niche market where people didn't necessarily want to spend an uber amount of money, but there was a desire to have a well-built home featuring good quality and better than base grade components. And so he took me under his wing. I was his basically lead carpenter, superintendent. I helped him finish out 7 houses. And then that was right around 2006, right before the big crash. And he got stuck on, I think, 4 homes. And he said, Bob, buy this Lakeview lot from me. Go build the same home you built for your family. I promise you, you'll be successful. We did it. We took a shot, and the bank gave us a shot. That was amazing. Small town bank. We were still in poverty at the time, and they took a risk with us. They saw what we had built for ourselves, and they gave us a shot. And within 3 months of breaking ground, we were in contract, and that was a lakefront style home. It was a Lakeview. It had a big vaulted ceilings, wood beams. It had hickory cabinets. It had granite countertops. It had hard surface flooring throughout. And this was a spec home in the sense that it was built to sell. So it was a custom home that we built, but we designed it, built it for our specifications, and put it on the market. Local realtor saw our work and began referring us. We had a family show up on the job site, said, wow, this home's beautiful. Could you build the same home for us on our lot? And so then we ended up building the first custom home for a local family, Tony and Lisa Lee. I still remember them. And we have some great referral letters from them. And when we were done with it, we got one of the biggest thank yous and compliments that I've ever heard up to that point. And Tony said, Bob, we built with a large scale nationwide builder previously, and hands down, this experience was one of the best and smoothest that we've experienced. So,
wow.
And then, we rode that roller coaster through to 2007, 2008. I got my real estate license. I started trying to sell my own homes. I realized pretty quickly that was a dead end road because my realtor friends and associates felt like, well, he's a realtor, not a builder.
Yeah.
So we quickly squashed the license and went back to just working with realtors and their clients. And that way, they didn't have to have a guard up, and they felt comfortable referring clients to us. And, it's been quite a ride. I think that the number one secret ingredient to the success of our company has been my faith. I was radically saved by God, and He put a desire in me to serve Him, and out of the gratitude, out of all the junk that He's taken out of me, and so we approached all of our work with excellence, and for many years we had one core value, and all of our endeavors, no matter what we put our hands to do, we'll do it with excellence. And that carried us for many years, So that's kind of the background. That's how I got started. And
well, Bob, now is a good time to brag on yourself a little bit because you're no slouch. You've been featured in some magazines. Was there like a TV show? There's been some things that have picked up your guys' work. So talk about that for a little bit.
So we were really blessed. We had the crazy thing is we did end up getting featured on national TV, international TV. It was the first season of Lakefront Bargain Hunt Renovation, which was an HGTV series. It was episode 4, Big Reno and Apple Valley, and we had met Mark and Mary Lynn the Wednesday before our vacation, family vacation to the beach. Met them on a Wednesday. They were people who lived in Florida. They bought the Midwest home in Ohio, the lakefront. They did not take possession of it. They had 30 days before they would take possession of it, but we met them on a Wednesday. They told us what they wanted to do, which was a whole house, inside, outside, large-scale renovation. I told them this was pre-COVID. It would be about $260,000. And they said, well, our budget's $60,000. I'm like, well,
there's a bit of a gap here. There's a gap here, yeah.
Yeah. So he said, listen, we still want you to design the whole house as if we're going to do it. We'll break it down into 3 phases. And so on Thursday, the next day, I had sent him a proposal to enter into a development agreement with us, where he would name us as his contractor of choice to design, develop, and construct a project within his targeted budget of $65,000. And Friday, I met with him, signed it. He gave me a 10% deposit of the targeted price of the project total, and we left for our family vacation. The development agreement stated that in a month, once they took possession of the house, we would start the project planning, and then by 1st of October, we would have that part completed, give them an estimate by second week of October, and we would proceed to enter into construction, and we'd be done by April 1st. Pretty typical. And so we got a call a week later from HGTV. Hey, this is HGTV. We're working with Mark and Mary Lynn. They said we can film the house renovation. Are you up for this? Sure, absolutely. Sounds like a great opportunity. So we set up a Zoom call, and we got back a week later, and during the Zoom call, they said, hey, this looks great, sounds great, everything's going smooth. We're going to pitch this to the network, see if this will go down, but here's the caveat. We're going to be in town in 3 weeks. Can you guys start filming, be ready to start tearing parts of the house down and be ready to film? And you have to be done before the leaves fall off. So anyway, my entire team, suppliers, my employees, my hourly independent contractors, our trade partners, they all jumped in. They went full speed ahead. They partnered with us, and they made it happen. And it turned out to be great. It was an awesome experience for us. And out of that, our company kind of took off, and we started getting people calling us from really all over the country, even though we just service Knox County currently and the surrounding area. But it was kind of a fun experience, and it kind of took us out of the just a word of mouth referral. People kind of knew who we were in the community and would meet me see me at the grocery store, the barber shop, and say, hey, I seen you on TV. And so that was kind of cool. All of a sudden, Quality Construction Services became a household name.
Yeah, and I was curious, what was the flow like after that? I mean, how many did you guys just have get inundated with leads, or what did that look like?
We did, and we were fortunate in 2014 to develop the development agreement process. The development agreement process allows us to work with clients. We still do this today. We offer free consultations. Usually it's 2 or 3 consultations, 2 on site. And we talk to the clients about their vision, their dreams, their aspirations, and then we'll sit down and we'll share with them kind of a bucket list of the project areas, rough ballpark totals, because at that point we have no plan specifications, we have no real details, we just have this kind of vague vision of what they want. And then when they say, yeah, no, this sounds good, include all these project areas, that development agreement kind of protects us, because it says, hey, we're going to start design phase on this date. Here's the benchmark or rocks along the way that we're going to hit. And these are the dates. And then we're going to have this finished by this date. And then we're going to start construction and be done by this. So because of that was in place, we were able to, yes, we had to turn down a lot of work, but we did that because we didn't want the insanity. We wanted to continue to be able to keep our good name, produce an excellent quality product, and allow our clients to have the very best customer experience possible. Yeah, it means a lot to us. We're in a very, very small town, very small community, and so you have one bad experience in 10, and that could dismantle operations. And so we are always striving for 100% satisfaction. A lot of people say that's impossible. 95% is acceptable. We're shooting for the stars, and my entire team's aligned with that, and we're excited about the new year ahead, because now that I was given the gift of sobriety a year ago, I've really been able to get clear on my message, my mission, and our why. And our entire team is poised and excited, and because of their enthusiasm and because of their talent and them being aligned with the desire to grow, I'm actually looking forward to growth. We had hit a pretty good spot. We had 3 million in sales 3 years in a row. That felt pretty comfortable for me. I also have a real estate investment holding company where we have 17 doors. And between the investment properties and the construction business, we were pretty content with where we are with our finances. And so the growth factor now is really about increasing our impact so that we can fulfill our calling to the ministry of helps, which is
Well,
our
dude,
why.
let's talk about that, because you've been on a journey, and I've gotten to watch like some of the physical results with you losing weight, and there's been a real change. And I know that anybody that comes in contact with Rise Up Kings, like that can be catalytic in that regard. But let's talk about some of the stuff you're doing with ministry and some of the passion you have around change. Like, yeah, let's talk about that for a sec.
So I'm going to go backwards just a little bit. When I was like 3 years old, God healed me miraculously. I had leg braces like Forrest Gump, and my mom took me to see a traveling missionary from India, Brother Charles Dahl. So he laid hands on me and he said, son, after he prayed, he said, son, I want you to sing the song, Oh, How I Love Jesus. And I want you to sing this every day until you're healed. And if you don't know the lyrics, it's pretty simple. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus, because he first loved me. And within 2 weeks, those leg braces came off, completely healed. I was able to compete in sports. Later, I joined the Army, made it to the 2nd Ranger Battalion. So God, and I share that strictly to say God completely healed me, and later radically saved me after really getting into a lot of the issues and muck and mire. And so God is the secret ingredient and the secret recipe to every good thing in my life, and He's merciful and gracious, and so He has been the inspiration, the drive in my life. And then in 2014, after running the construction company since 2002 is when we started it, I was listening to a missionary from Argentina who was ministering to the Taliban. And this man was not afraid to go to minister to a people who had a bounty on his head because of the love of God. That challenged me in such a way that I can't even begin to describe. But I remember being in church, I was crying out to God, Lord, I want my life to count. I want it to have a greater purpose than just, serving money, serving mammon. And he showed me a vision, met me. It was a very powerful encounter. It was very clear. And he said if I would be faithful, that He would open up the windows of heaven, pour out a blessing, and we would be used as a vessel to bless those who were in full-time ministry. And therefore, I found myself called to the ministry of helps. That was in 2014. In 2017, directly after the HTTV show launched, we were inspired to create and form that ministry because we were doing a fundraiser. And that's how that launched. And then, throughout this whole time, probably the last 10 years, 12 years, I did struggle with alcohol. I struggled with, using it just to quiet the work at night. I'd pick up a 6-pack of beer, and, that was my way of just unwinding, finally putting the work down. And in spite of knowing that calling, in spite of having this, great desire to serve God, I still struggled, man. I wrestled, and it brought a lot of isolation, and I felt alone. My heart is with so many people out there who sit in church, and they feel like they're all alone, because that was my journey. I didn't feel good enough. I drugged myself and sat in the back row because I knew that sometimes my drinking led to drunkenness. Not that alcohol by itself is bad. It's just I had a tendency to go all in. So, and unfortunately, it seemed like every week, once or twice a week, God forgive me. I know I shouldn't be getting drunk. And it was just a cycle, man. I couldn't get out of. I was functional, didn't impact my work that much. I still was a great provider. I still fulfilled my calling to my wife and kids. And so, and we still gave to the ministry of helps. We 2013, we gave $746 in tithes. And when we had that vision, 2014, and this is all my tax records. I had to pull this back up the other day. It shows that we paid like 15 grand. Okay. So, and I share that with you just to say that God will use you no matter where you're at. His gifts are without revoke. But there's a better life that so many of us don't realize is for us. And I struggled with the chains of alcohol addiction and abuse. And it truly held me back from living to my fullest capacity and enjoying the life that I'm finally feel like I've broke into now. And I've experienced some amazing freedom. And I never believed that. I never believed it was possible for me.
Yeah.
It was a real game changer. So in January, I went to the Forge, which is Rise Up Kings event. And,
I got my
and
Forge thing right there. Yeah.
I didn't get a seat in the background. Yes, I got my anvil on the wall.
Yeah.
And the whole thing, as you know, it deals with the trauma that we've dealt with as a kid. And so many times we have these behaviors that come out, good, bad, ugly, based on these things that are buried deep below. And sometimes, and it also shapes our perspective, what we believe. And, I was there. They had us go outside and pray and just meditate, write down what you heard. And it was an amazing thing, man. I was geeking out. The sun was it was mid 70s in January. I'm from Ohio, and the sun was radiating on my arm. This is the long version. Hope that's okay.
No, it's great.
All right. So, I just was tripping out about how good the sun felt. And it was on my face, and the sun was shining. And I began to think about what the sun actually does. It's consistent. It rises in the east, it sets in the west. All life on earth is sustained by the sun. Yeah. And I began to think about just how awesome it really is. I mean, it was really an aha moment. And then it dawned on me that that's just the sun. Yeah. There's this God out there, this supreme being, this great creator who not only the sun, but earth, life, everything that the seven wonders of the world, all these things that God, this amazing creator has made, and they're good. And then what was wild was it dawned on me. This was my breakthrough moment. It dawned on me that same God created the human experience. He designed human beings, and he designed a relationship. And I thought about it for a moment, and I thought, wow, my God, what would it be like for me if I ever got a chance to taste or experience the life that God actually designed for humans to experience and live? Yeah. And about 30 seconds later, I went, oh, yeah, I probably can't be sedated daily. Yeah. And just like that, man, just like that, God took the alcohol. And this was 10, 12 years of straight, daily drinking. We had a booze cruise scheduled, 8-day booze cruise directly after our 40-day fast that we do every year. And I called my wife. I said, sweetheart, we're not going on that cruise. She's like, what? Why? And I said, I'm not chancing it. God gave me sobriety. It's an amazing thing. And I want to see what this looks like. So she's very supportive. I can go on a cruise now, a year later, pretty sure. But yeah, it's been awesome. It's been a breakthrough year for us. And that's my year for 2026, Andrew. After seeing what God's done in my team, and really that's that's why my team is so excited. They've seen the real change in my life. They've seen the transformation, my commitment, my consistency, and many of them have embarked now on their own personal journeys of growth, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was thinking as you were talking, I don't know why, but this quote, it was St. Irenaeus, I think, that said this, but the glory of God is man fully alive. And, I love your story of alcohol. It's been probably 2 years for me, but like same thing. And there's two things that keep me away from it. Number one is some of the stuff you're talking about. Like I'm so much more alive. I sleep better. There's so many things. And then two, I'm almost convinced that if I was to drink alcohol again, my wife literally would leave me. So the little bit of fear along with the new life that I'm enjoying, and that keeps me pretty straight, but it's such a powerful story of turnaround, man. And now you showing up as different as a business leader, as a husband, every area is transformed by that. And I love that. Yeah. It's powerful.
I think the biggest thing now that I feel like in my future that I haven't really thought of before is like I really want to get involved in giving men a hand up who are struggling.
Yeah.
Because I've been there and I've struggled. I know what it's like to day in and day out experience shame, struggle, belief that you can't. This is like a glass ceiling that doesn't feel like a glass ceiling. It feels like you can't. It's fate, right? Like my grandpa, he used to bootleg whiskey and and he lived till 98, but he was a honky tonk. And my mom was an alcoholic. My biological father's an alcoholic, and I have family members that have struggled. So I just kind of like Hank Williams Jr. It's a family tradition. Some of them found freedom, but I just never believed that it was going to be possible for me to enjoy life, to have a good time, be able to go out to dinner with my wife, be able to go on vacation. And it was such a false belief system. I mean, the best life that I've ever tasted has been in this last year. And I'm just super excited about the future. Like, wow, I get to do this journey of life sober now. And you hear people, right? You hear people say that. Like when I was struggling, you'd hear people talk about their sobriety like it was this great thing. And I actually was asked by a ruck coach at the refinery, hey, what if I told you sobriety was, an option for you? Could you go there? Could you entertain that idea? And I'm like, nah, no, I can't. That was my solid, that was my go-to, and it was a chain for many years, man. It really was. And I don't want to take the time up talking about that struggle with alcoholism, but I did want to put a plug out there just in case anybody's out there listening. I don't know how, expansive or broad your audience is, but there is hope, and there is freedom, and any belief that you have that you're going to die an alcoholic or die in this addiction is a lie. There is a better way. There is hope, and I'm happy to connect with anybody who needs somebody to be there for them.
Amen, dude. That's a powerful word. What else can we talk? I mean, we've talked about a lot. Anything else? You talk about the excitement about this upcoming year. In what ways do you feel like you're poised for growth? Like, is it more business? Is it a different type of business? Like, what does that entail?
Yeah, so since I've been involved with the Rise Up Kings, we've been doing a lot of business development, and we just recently began to adopt some of the systems that they teach there for business management, strategic planning, one-page plan. And as we've worked through this thing, it's allowed my team to be involved, which meant I had to be, open to feedback, negative, criticism, and we've been able to identify the big issues that are preventing us from fulfilling our mission. And so by identifying them, we've also identified the solution. And some of that had to do with the owner being too involved in day-to-day operations that kind of bottlenecked operations, sales from continuing. So I'm still a big part of the organization, but this coming year we're implementing the EOS model, which is Entrepreneurial Operating System. And what that does is it empowers the employees to begin making key decisions. And so our number one target this year for 2026 is to develop scorecards for each individual employee and have clear processes in place. And I think that as soon as we're aligned with that, the growth is going to be exponential. I'm telling you, man, we are so hyped and excited about what's to come. Like, we're getting ready to have a year of breakthrough, and it's going to be awesome. And so this is the year of preparation so that we can handle what's next. And I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it for you, man. I'm excited for you, and I love watching your journey online, dude. What is there anything we haven't talked about today, Bob, that gets you fired up? Anything that you kind of want to touch on that we haven't talked about?
I mean, I've touched on the April Showers Ministries. That's the name of our 501c3 organization. Now that it's not in the dark, we intend to shine light on that ministry. The purpose of that ministry was founded wholly to primarily 80% of the purpose of that ministry was to support those who are in full-time ministry, missionary families, people who have said yes to fulfilling the Great Commission. And we also support women who are in pregnancy, unplanned pregnancies, who are struggling financially. We support an organization that helps them, and we also have a feeding center that April Showers Ministry is launching with our missionary church in El Salvador. And our goal is to post our financials online because not one dime of any of the finances goes to any of the directors or board members. And so what I found and what I heard was that most Americans have a difficult time giving to charitable organizations because 70% or more believe that their money is not going to be used for its intended purpose. And so we're going to find a way to put that on our Facebook account or whatever, our books, and show that accountability. And I think that when people see that they can trust this organization and they actually hear the message of what we're doing, we're going to actually see growth. And so even though this is our first feeding center that we're launching, and it's in partnership with the church that we're supporting, we're doing a short-term missions trip in April, and I believe that God's going to enable us to open 100 feeding centers. These are people, these are villages and kids who are living in just third world country. They're impoverished, and we're going to be able to feed them. I believe it's 3 meals a day. More to come. My sister, Amy Serrato, she's the missions director, and her and her family were missionaries to Nicaragua for 20 years. And so she's facilitating the missions program. And our family is going to go on a short-term missions trip in April. And I'm really excited to see the kids get out there and just see what some of the world, looks like outside of the States. So that's a big one for me.
Amen. Well, God bless you, man. I love that. I love seeing you get excited. And then, I mean, God allows businesses to support the work of expanding his kingdom. One of the early lessons I had to learn coming out of full-time ministry, quote unquote, was these two twin brother Christian serial entrepreneurs, David and Jason Benham. And they, were these serial guys. They had started so many different businesses. And, what I loved about these guys, I was in seminary. I hated it. I was not tracking to become a pastor. I didn't think I'd be a good pastor. And I met these guys, and they were sharing their faith and leading guys to Christ and using their businesses to disciple guys. And I was like, well, why aren't you guys in ministry? And they're like, we are. This is ministry, business and ministry. Where your place and how you're paid does not determine the minister. And so I love it, man. I love seeing it. I love seeing your passion, your fire. And, I hope all this stuff grows. I really do.
Thank you.
If people want to learn more about who you are and what you do, where can they go? A website or social media? Sure. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
So website is qualitylakehomebuilders.com. That's qualitylakehomebuilders.com. And our office number is 740-599-2599.
Love it. Well, don't go anywhere. I want to keep talking, Bob, but thanks for coming on the podcast. Thanks for joining us on the show.
Thanks for having me, Andrew. Appreciate it.